Science is powerful. But there is much that can't be explained. When people see, hear or believe something that cannot be explained, the cause and nature of the phenomenon itself remains a mystery. This story is an example of such a phenomenon. Gata Loops is a place which is unknown to many of us except for a few who have traveled on Manali-Leh highway. It is a series of 21 hairpin bends that takes you to the top of the third highest altitude pass on this highway. The name of the pass is Nakila. Nakila is at a height of around 16,000 feet. Gata Loops is known for its stunning location and breathtaking scenery around it. But that is not all, there is also the ghost who haunts these loops that only a few know about. Several years ago, during the month of October, a truck with its driver and a cleaner crossed Rohtang and moved on its way towards Leh. It was already snowing at a few places and the driver was warned, but he had no choice. He had to follow a strict time limit and had to reach Leh on time. It was snowing heavily and this truck was the last vehicle to cross Rohtang, which means that it was the last truck plying on Manali-Leh highway. The driver managed to bring the truck safely all the way to Gata Loops. On one of the loops, his truck broke down and came to a complete halt. After trying for a couple of hours, the driver couldn't fix it. They waited and waited but no one crossed them on the route. Then driver decided to walk to a nearby village and bring some help. The cleaner was ill and not in a condition to walk. The truck was loaded and could not be left abandoned with the cargo because of the risk of getting robbed. Cleaner stayed back with the truck to guard it. The driver walked for miles and miles. Then he found a small village. There was no mechanic there. Somehow he managed to make a phone call to Manali to get someone for help. While he was waiting at the village, it started to snow heavily and became impossible for the driver to get back to the truck. It took several days for the weather to clear and he was stuck in the village. Finally help came from Manali and they all hurried back to Gata Loops. After reaching there they found that cleaner is dead. He was left alone on the road for several days in freezing temperature with no water and food and died of thirst, hunger and cold. The truck was fixed but it was impossible to drive it either to Leh or Manali because passes on both sides were closed. So the driver drove the truck to the village he was stranded in and waited there until it was possible to drive across Rohtang and return to Manali. The body of the cleaner was buried at Gata Loops by the villagers, right at the spot where he died. Next year when the highway reopened, people started noticing a strange thing. There was a beggar at Gata Loops who would wave at the passing vehicles to stop and begged them for water. Some people did not stop but the ones who didn't offered the beggar some water saw the bottles drop right through his hands. Some people were scared of the ghost who begged for water, thinking that it might harm them if they stopped. After such incidents the locals set up a small temple at the spot where he was buried and made offerings of water. Since then, whoever passes by and is aware of the story leaves some water at the temple, as an offering. When anyone crosses Gata Loops, he can see a dump of water bottles. That's where the temple and the grave of the dead cleaner is.